So I'm interested to
Hello, everyone. Welcome live to 3Wide TV. I do apologize for that. If you were not hearing us, well, the reason why was because the mics were unfortunately muted. I do apologize for that. But welcome to the Cars for Cause 150 here tonight on 3Wide Television. We're already in the qualification round. And as I say that, the number 083, Shane Terrien, who's been on an absolute tear here in the Total Nonstop Racing League, goes top of the board by just about half a tenth of a second over Tim Johnson in the number 28 machine. But as I say that, Anthony DeBarro, the number 27 DeBarro Sliders machine, is going to go top of the board. I'm Peter Short, and alongside me here tonight is Mitchell Adams. And gotta say, it's going to be a lot of fun having Mitchell alongside me here for 150 laps around the very tricky Phoenix International Raceway here on 3Wide TV. Cars for Cause 150 it is. Make sure you check out carsforcause.org here tonight. There's a link in the description of the video as well. But if you want to put a little bit of money towards a good cause, they will be a great place to put that money. But Mitchell, what are you looking for here tonight at Phoenix?
I'm really looking for drivers to try and balance the short run and the long run speed. We're seeing drivers be fast in qualifying and some not quite as fast, but here at Phoenix, managing the tires for a short run is a lot different than how you approach managing tires for a long run. So I think I'm interested to see if these drivers running up front, if they'll back off during the race or if they'll just go and hope to save the tires. But definitely a trickier racetrack, one of my favorites. So I'm looking forward to watching these TNR drivers put on a show here tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. Tana Himmelman in the chat saying, we can't hear you if y'all are talking. Well, hopefully you can now. I do apologize for that. Kyle Lewis saying, hey there, Peter and Mitchell. Hopefully that means you can hear us if you're saying hello. But it is currently the number 27 of Anthony DeBarro currently on the provisional pole. Shane Ewing just left the racetrack. Stephen Kegman in the number 22 trying to get some practice laps in. Now here tonight, folks, we have a stacked field. We are currently at 41 entries. We saw 44 last week at California Speedway Auto Club, whatever you want to call it. But here tonight, we are currently sitting at 41, which here at Phoenix is an absolute huge field, as Stephen Kegman, the only driver left out there on the racetrack, but looks like he is going to pull it down onto pit road. That leaves us with a quiet racetrack. But as I say that, Matthew Rodriguez worked his way out onto the racetrack, but he's not going to go any further because that is going to do it here for the qualifying session. And Mitchell, going to be a lot of fun here tonight to see these drivers roll off for tonight's event. Definitely going to be, like we said, an absolute huge field as we bring up tonight's starting lineup for you. Now, show this. This is actually the lineup for what is going to be the heat race, but we're not going to have a heat race. We're just going to skip it. So we'll let the admins skip the heat race, and once the admins do skip the heat race, we will go into the main event. So thanks for everyone joining us here in the Total Nonstop Racing League Thornton Graphix Grand National Series event. It is the Cars for Cause 150. Really cool to have them on board. Like I said, make sure you check them out, carsforcause.org here tonight on the channel. You see a beautiful look of the non-oval Phoenix Raceway. Maybe you could call it an oval. I'm not exactly 100% sure, but it's not exactly what I would have in mind when it comes to an oval. I don't know what I would call that shape. Mitchell?
I think it's kind of, I think what gets referred to as a D-oval, except kind of backwards from what would typically be a D-oval. The start-finish line, I think, would traditionally be on the other side of the racetrack. But yeah, it's one of the more unique tracks we go to, especially because it's kind of shorter. It's not a big track either. So really not quite any other tracks similar to it, which just makes this place a big challenge. A lot of drivers either love this place or hate this place, just kind of about how unique it is. And becomes even more tricky with that open dog leg you can see there on the backstretch. The drivers can go down onto that apron below the yellow line there and use that, which is pretty unique to this racetrack.
Yeah, and I'm sure we're going to see plenty of that here tonight on 3 Wide TV. I want to thank each and every one of you for joining us here tonight. Tana Himmelman saying, hey, well, Bob Giaquinto checking in, saying, hey guys, currently sitting on the deck watching the sunset, cigar and bourbon in my hands and watching the race. Tana Himmelman saying, Bob, that sounds more fun than me and PJs in the recliner watching Vandy in the World Series with my teenager. I mean, come on, you're watching 3 Wide TV, so that's just as good as watching the sunset with a bourbon and a cigar in your hand. Come on now. Of course, Bob taking a little bit of a break this week. Bob, we hope that you're really enjoying your vacation. Why don't you send us a pic up here in the 3 Wide TV booth, and we can all marvel in it while you are sitting there wherever you are watching the sunset. Sounds really wonderful. But we're just waiting to see this session get skipped. We'll have to see. You can see the pace car is actually headed down pit road, and the heat race is technically green flag, but there's no cars out there on the racetrack, so we just have to let the race administrators do their thing here, and we will get over to the race here very, very shortly. Just checking to see if there's been any other information here. No other information fed to us up here in the booth, so we will keep things at it. Mitchell, I believe you have pulled up the point standings. We're 2 races in, though, to the Total Nonstop Racing Thornton Graphix 2021 B season, and how do those points stack up after 2 races?
Yeah, taking a look at the point standings coming into this race, Ben Izanga leads the field with 1 win on the season. He is Robert Kenny just behind him in the points. Nicholas Cohan also there in the points with a win. Tristan Maher and Bill Edwards round out the top 5 in points. But Peter, looking at the points, they're still very close. Now, we're 2 races in, so that's somewhat to be expected, but only about 15 points separate the top 4, which means there's definitely a really good points battle, and for any of those drivers up near the front, a good night or a bad night's really going to affect their place in the point standings coming out of Phoenix.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. These drivers out there are going to have to try and get as good of a run as they can. Now, we do have one driver out there right now in the heat race. That is the number 15 of Brady Todd, coming to a halt here on the front stretch, and just like that, pops off the racetrack. So I'm not sure what the race administrators are trying to do here. They were kind of 2 minutes into the show. We'll see if we can get any more messages from the race administrators, but we'll just chill and enjoy a little bit of time with our 3 Wide TV viewers. Kyle, how's it going here tonight? Kyle Lewis in the chat. Stephen Doziak Jr. says he's trying to log in. Doze, hopefully you got out there in the racetrack, got on the racetrack, and you're able to get out there racing. We'll check out the cactus cam. There is the cactus cam. Got a couple of cacti on the backstretch here at Phoenix International Raceway, just keeping things, fun and exciting. We'll get the look from the mountain as well, just outside of turn number 3 and 4. A lot of people go there and sit there and watch the race from up there. I think that's, if there's one thing on my bucket list, probably to do when it comes to this racetrack, it'd be to watch a race on that mountain. That'd be really, really cool to do, and really special in my opinion.
Yeah, one of the more unique settings for a racetrack, too. Really kind of beautiful in my opinion, and it's kind of out in the middle of a desert, and don't they call that Rattlesnake Hill or something like that in NASCAR?
Something like that. Maybe someone found a rattlesnake up there at some point. I really don't know. Johnny Williams saying good luck all and hello to the booth. K Pitty dropping in. Kyle Gevishausen, how's it going, Kyle? Hopefully you're having a good night here on 3 Wide TV. Sit back, enjoy the show here as we got 41 cars set to go green here in just a little bit. The Windsor's dropping in saying, good luck, Bill. How's it going? We're always rooting on Bill Edwards here on 3 Wide TV. Tana Himmelman saying, Ben said there was supposed to be a heat race, but there wasn't enough cars, so now they're waiting for it to advance. Yeah, there was supposed to be a heat race, that's right, but if they had enough cars, or too few cars, they were just going to skip it. That was my understanding. So maybe they're unable to skip it. I'm not actually sure. It was my thought that they would just skip the heat race and advance it. But maybe they're unable to do that. So, well, we'll see if we can maybe dial up some of these drivers. Let's see if we can maybe talk to the pole sitter here tonight, see how he's expecting to get things going, and maybe he has some more insight up here into the 3Y TV booth. Anthony DeBarro, Peter Short, 3Y TV booth. You got a copy?
How you doing, mate?
I'm doing pretty good. Of course, you're going to be doing very well at the start of the race, starting on the pole here tonight, picking it up. It's a tricky racetrack, pretty slippery, always a tricky one here at Phoenix, with it being so flat and it being relatively fast for how flat it is. What do you think your keys to the race are here tonight?
Oh, I think saving the tires because you only got 2 sets in the pits, so you got to really take care of your tires here for 150 laps, and it wears the right front out, so it's kind of difficult to manage that. But you're also going to have to go hard enough to keep your track position because I think we're going to get a lot of cautions tonight.
Yeah, that is one thing a lot of drivers have mentioned kind of up to now. But Anthony, looks like everyone going to be down there gridding. We'll let you get to it. Best of luck here tonight at Phoenix.
Thank you, guys.
All right, we'll let Tim get back to his crew. But folks, the good news is it looks like we've finally been able to advance from the one heat race that never really did happen. And finally, we can bring up the grid for tonight's carsforcause.org 150. Anthony DeBarro, we just had a quick word with him right there, starting on the pole. Shane Terrian going to be rolling off from the outside of row number 1. Tim Johnston, Jason Gracias on row number 2. Kevin McCann, Jason Freeman on row number 3. Great qualifying run for Jason Freeman, who had a strong run going last week at California Speedway until late race issues set him back. Nick Cohan, last week's race winner, will be rolling off from the inside of row number 4 with Tristan Maher back in the number 98 mobile this week. Was sporting the number 7 last week. Dakota Knoll in the number 25, and Spencer Tart going to round out your top 10, Mitchell.
Lupe Gonzalez going to start 11th with Brian McCann to his outside. Kevin Stone starts in the row behind them with Andrew Himmelman on his outside. James Lorello rolls off 15th with Mike Floppy Tellier in 16th. Ben Izanga, also your points leader coming into tonight, starts 17th with his teammate Bill Edwards in 18th. John Canizaro starts 19th, and Josh Gerlach rounds out your top 20.
And rapid fire through the rest of your field. Shane Ewing, Casey Miller, 21st, 22nd. John Boris, Bronson Stafford on row number 12. Row number 13, back behind them, Breyer Fritz and Todd Kirkwood. Ben Adams, Gail Brooks on row number 14. Stephen Kegman, Kyle Lewis, row number 15. Garrett Gleason, Tony Lucarelli, row 16. Derek Cook, Vincent Valvano, row 17. Austin Grover, Bobby Puckett, row number 18. And looks like we're going to get an extra lap of pacing here, so that will slow me down. Ricky Williams, Jason Shue, row number 19. Steven Doziak, Matthew Rodriguez, and Justin White rounding out your field here at Phoenix International Raceway. But definitely going to be a lot of fun watching these cars get kind of up and to speed here tonight in the carsforcause.org 150, Mitchell. And we heard it from DeBarro that he's concerned about track position here tonight. This is actually one of the more difficult racetracks to pass at.
Yeah, and usually short tracks provide some good passing opportunity, but Phoenix really, the groove can narrow, and there's a lot of different ways to roll a turn here, but really they kind of all center around the bottom lane usually, and especially in a field of 41 cars. This is a ginormous field compared to what I'm used to seeing, so just losing a little bit of track position can set you really far back. There's a lot of cars to pass through. As the iRacing pace truck going to pull down to pit roads, we're set to go to green.
Waiting for the green flag to wave here tonight. There it is, green flag out. We're racing here in the desert on 3 wide TV. Clean start for the entire field. It is Anthony DeBarro on the inside, Shane Terrian on the outside line. And it looks like DeBarro's going to clear him out of turn number 2. Here comes Tim Johnson, DeBarro's teammate. Couple of the Dizzy Motorsports machines now running 1-2 up at the front of the field as they head off into turn number 3 and 4. You can see just how flat turn number 3 and 4 is right here on your screen. Jason Gracias in the number 1 machine was your champion 2 seasons ago. He's having a good run here tonight, running in the 5th in the Max Graphics Toyota Supra. These drivers up towards the front of the field getting relatively single file, but not so back here. That is John Cannizzaro. Oh, the number 13. What happened to the number 13 machine? That, of course, is your reigning series champion, James Orello. Appears like he might have had a hardware failure, and that's going to bring out the first caution flag of the night.
Yeah, very strange incident. I'm really curious to take a look back and just kind of wonder what happened to James. We looked at him running, battling for position here down the front straightaway, headed into turn 3, or turn 1, excuse me, 2 wide. It's turn 3 in NASCAR, and yeah, car just kind of went straight to the wall. There might have been some kind of mechanical failure. It's out of his control. Yeah, it's just a pretty strange incident there, Peter.
Yeah, that is a strange one. Now, he did have a little bit of front-end damage. Not sure where that front-end damage came from. Let's see if we can go on board with the number 13. So this is about a lap prior to when we saw him have that issue in turn number 1 and gets into the back of the number 14 machine right there. The number 14 driven by Kevin Stone. And the number 13, we got also, looks like Spencer Tart headed down pit road for his end of longest light or his early race drive-through penalty. And then going off into turn number 1 right here, those brakes must have just locked up. It looks like the entire car seized. And then once he got back going, just kept banging it off the wall. Like, that is a definite failure of some sort on the number 13 machine. Those types of things, they do happen in sim racing. Now, they are rare, but they do occasionally happen. You see Lorello, he's on pit road getting tires right now. Not sure if he had to take a tow back to pit road or not, but unfortunately for Lorello, his night is off to a not-so-good start. Let's talk about the Shibby Shack Dash for Cash here tonight. We do have a couple of drivers going for that Dash for Cash. In fact, a couple of the eligible drivers not in the show here tonight, so we will be picking the top 3 the 3 drivers that finished the worst last week that are in the race tonight. One of those drivers is driver of the number 8 machine, Andrew Himmelman. He's just outside the top 10 right now. The highest of these 3 drivers at the end of the night will be walking away with $10, courtesy of Shibby Shack, the Shibby Shack podcast. Andrew Himmelman is one of those drivers, currently running in the 11th position. There he is on your screen. Now, his stepdad, Ben Adams, is also in the running for that. It was not a good weekend last week for their household, or last Monday night, I should say. Ben Adams is in the running for that, and I do believe the last driver was, I'm trying to remember now. This is difficult. Who was that last driver? I can't remember now.
Wasn't it Lupe Gonzalez, I believe?
It was Lupe Gonzalez. That's right. It was Lupe Gonzalez. See, you got a better memory than I have. Lupe Gonzalez running in the 12th spot right now. There is Lupe. In fact, running right behind Andrew Himmelman in the number 8 machine. So, could be a tight battle for that $10 courtesy of Shibby Shack Dash for Cash. Those 3 drivers, last week, Andrew Himmelman finished 36th, Lupe Gonzalez finished 38th, and Ben Adams finished 43rd. And those drivers back in the field here tonight. So, speaking of back in the field, looks like the field is getting lined up, and we're going to get set to go back green here in just about half a lap.
Yeah, good green flag run, it seemed. Well, not really a green flag run, but a good opening lap, it seemed like. Drivers really got single filed out, mostly up front, but it was just kind of a strange caution, so it wasn't due to any incident, I don't think. So far they've kept it pretty clean, but definitely some exciting racing back in the pack. As those pace truck lights are out, it'll get ready to pull down into the pit road. Anthony DeBarro started on pole, getting ready to lead the field back to green. Timothy Johnston gonna restart in second this time with Shane Terrian as they're waiting for the green flag. There it is. Anthony DeBarro with another great jump on the restart. Timothy Johnston does kind of keep with him on the outside, but DeBarro clears the field headed into turn 1.
Yeah, and a little bit further back, Kevin McCann side by side with Shane Terrian. You see Terrian going all the way down below that yellow line. Jason Freeman right back behind him. He's locked in a battle with, not locked in a battle. That is the number 1 of Jason Gracias, locked in a battle with last week's race winner Nick Cohan right back behind him. Tristan Maher in the 3-wide television number 98 machine, now working his way up into the 8th position. Good start for the number 98. Then Andrew Himmelman, who is the biggest mover of the race so far. Himself and John Cannizzaro have both picked up 5 spots since the drop of the green flag. Considering that was only 8 laps ago, most of that's been run under caution. Extremely impressive out of the SimShots Chevy Camaro. He just got around the number 25 machine of Dakota Knoll. Knoll running right in front of the 03 of Brian McCann as they work their way here down onto the front stretch. Meanwhile, back behind them, look at John Cannizzaro ducked to the inside of Kevin Stone right here on your screen. This is a battle for 13th.
As the caution's going to come back out as we head down the back straightaway once again. I don't know what happened with that one, but I was going to talk about, I know that Andrew Himmelman and John Cannizzaro, furious rivals on track, so John probably heard us and wanted to get more cars past than Andrew. But looking here at Bill Edwards in the 50, just a little contact from behind, a little nudge from the 16 of Briar Fritz sent that 50 car around, and yeah, that'll definitely be another caution.
And the good news for Edwards is he was able to get that number 50 machine going pretty quickly, and he didn't lose a whole lot of positions. He did lose a couple, currently being scored in the 32nd position, but we can get a look there, a little bit of left rear damage on the number 50, sporting a very patriotic scheme here tonight, which is very good to see, as always. Got to give a big shout out to Bill Edwards. Always has a traveling contingent of fans here on 3Y TV. We do believe that the driver who brought out the first caution flag of the night, the number 13 of James Zorello, might have fixed his hardware situation, and we think that he will be receiving the lucky dog, currently being scored 2 laps down in the number 13 S2R machine. You saw Bill Edwards duck onto pit road. We actually have a couple of pit road takers here under this caution flag. We'll see if we can bring those up for you at the bottom of your screen. You can see a couple of them right there. Ben Adams, Tony Lucarelli on pit road, Jason Gracias on pit road. A bit of a surprise there. Todd Kirkwood, John Borst coming down. There's the 0 of Borst on pit road. We saw Briar Fritz, who made that contact there with the number 50 of Edwards a little while ago. He was also coming down pit road. Who else we got down pit road? Garrett Gleason on pit road, back in the car this week. Jason Shue in the number 3. Just got back from Pocono Raceway. Got to meet the winner of the NASCAR race this past weekend. Pretty cool that Jason Shue was able to do that, sporting that Dale Earnhardt-inspired number 3 machine. You saw James Dorello flash on by, back on, well, not onto the lead lap, but back only 1 lap down in his number 13. A little bit banged up, but you know what? You don't need a whole lot of aero here at Phoenix. It helps, but one of those racetracks where it's not the end of the world if you don't have it. As you see Shane Ewing in his number 32, also a couple of laps down here tonight.
Yeah, not the most aero-sensitive track, Phoenix. Kind of these shorter length tracks typically aren't, because there's a lot of braking zones and slower corners, so he wishes he'd had a fresh car, but it's definitely not going to end his race having a little bit of damage, as we're riding on board with somebody going a little bit slow down. No, that's your race well, they're going slow because they're under caution, Mitchell. I think that would probably be why. That is your race leader, the 27 of Anthony DeBarro, who's going at pace speed now through turns 3 and 4. What is turns 1 and 2 in NASCAR in real life? Of course, they've moved the start-finish line, and that's not really reflected here on iRacing, but see if the pace car lights go off this time maybe, and we can send the field back to green.
Yeah, I like sending the field back to green. You know, if I had it my way, I'd probably make these iRacing pace laps probably 1 lap shorter per caution if I could swing it my way, but unfortunately that is not always the case. K Pity in the chat saying, I hear you, Johnny. Wish I was racing too. Hope you feel better, man. Johnny saying he has a sinus infection, which kept him from racing here tonight. Johnny, hopefully you're back to feeling A-OK for next week here on 3-Way TV, although we don't have a race next week. So you have 2 weeks to get better. Of course, next week is 4th of July holiday, so we'll be having a week off. Hazardous is was in the chat, said would not go to the race session. I wonder if that is Shane Ewing, who is currently being scored 2 laps down. Steven Doziak reporting for us that the pedals broke on James Arello's number 13 machine. Well, it seems like he was able to get them fixed. He's back in the field here, just 1 lap down. Field now coming to the green flag. We're going to get set to go back green, and sure enough, we are green flag once again at Phoenix International Raceway. As we go off into turn number 1, it is DeBarro and Johnston getting 1-2. Shane Terrien and Kevin McCann side by side. This is the battle for third.
There's another great start for Anthony DeBarro out front, as well as Johnston in second. Is the battle a little bit more heated than I think it's been for the third place on the last few restarts? That's Shane Terrien trying to roll the inside around Kevin McCann in the 42. Not quite going to get there out of turn 4 and headed down the front straightaway. They're still side by side, as a lot of side by side racing throughout the field. Is watch all 41 of those cars go by. Again, just really, I think it's one of my favorite camera shots to watch the field go by like that, Peter.
And then look at all of them fan out through the dogleg on the backstretch. Absolutely awesome to see those camera angles here at Phoenix International Raceway. Meanwhile, up the front end is still DeBarro, Johnston, Terrien, Kevin McCann, and Andrew Himmelman in the number 8 machine has worked his way up into the 5th position. He's up 9 spots from the drop of the green flag here in the Simshot Chevy Camaro. Absolutely making a name for himself so far. Meanwhile, look at Tristan Maher looking to the outside of Jason Freeman. Maher has picked up 1 spot from the drop of the green flag. Freeman has held station in the number 20 machine. Maher in that 3-wide TV making its debut, I believe, here tonight on 3-wide television. Really cool to have a car kind of sponsored by the channel. That will always get you lots of airtime. Ha 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 ha. Brian McCann there in the 03 machine. His brother Kevin is up in the 4th position, but Brian is currently running down there in 11th right now. A little bit under fire from John Cannizzaro. We know that Cannizzaro has a little bit of fire underneath the helmet in the number 58 machine, back behind that bright yellow 03 of Brian McCann. But he's having to defend here because your points leader, Ben Izenga, is looking to the inside now of Brian McCann. Is Cannizzaro to the inside of the 03 machine? Maybe the Canadian number 17 can get a little bit of an advantage. Of course, sporting the Air Canada paint scheme here tonight on 3-Wide TV.
And watching these drivers go around, I really expected tonight the inside lane to be preferred for passing, but I've seen a lot of passes get made on the outside lane. While we were watching that, I've been especially watching that 8 of Andrew Himmelman you talked about, up to 4th place, up to 3rd place now. So Himmelman's really been working the top, and like you said, in that Shibby Shack Dash for Cash, stretched himself well in front of Lupe Gonzalez in 9th, his closest competition, as the field fans out down the backstretch again. So a lot of speed out of that 8, moved up through the field very quickly in just 20 laps.
Yeah, that is very, very true. The number 8 machine in 3rd now, but he is about a second behind your 2nd place, number 083 of Shane Terrien. Terrien has been lightning quick here on 3-Wide TV over the last couple of weeks. Started in 2nd spot here tonight. Lost that 2nd spot to Tim Johnson, who has now slid back to 5th. But Terrien hot on the back bumper of Anthony DeBarro. Himmelman right there in front of Kevin McCann and Tim Johnston. And then you got right there Jason Freeman, Tristan Maher. Then back behind them, Lupe Gonzalez, last week's race winner, Nick Cohan, Dakota Knoll, rounding out your top 10. Let's see if we can pick up some of the battles a little bit further back in the pack. Jason Gracias in the number 1 machine. He's trying to work his way back forward. He pitted on lap number 10 here tonight in the number 1 Max Graphics Toyota Supra. Was the highest placed driver to come down pit road. He's worked his way back to the 18th position. Bronson Stafford in the number 61 machine he also came down pit road. He's only back into 21st. So Spencer Tart in the 78, who had to come down pit road for a drive-through penalty on lap number 1. He's working his way now around the number 1 of Jason Gracias. This is a side-by-side battle for the 18th position.
Yeah, good battles throughout the pack, and you talked about the drivers that pit. I feel like they pit really early, and if memory serves me right, they have a limited number of sets of tires here in TNR, so I wonder if anybody decided to throw those on. I feel like it's unlikely, but you never know if somebody decided to roll the dice with a strategy early.
Yeah, so we'll keep our eyes on that one. This is a battle up here for the 6th position with Jason Freeman. Ooh, connection issues there for Jason Freeman there for a brief moment. He's back now. So that is a battle for position right now. Meanwhile, a little bit further back, this is Steven Kegman, Gale Brooks. This is the battle for 30th out there on the racetrack in the 22 and the 76. Gale Brooks looking to the inside of the 22 out of turn number 4. Going to drop down to the inside, get on the brakes. And looks like the Unical 76 machine will make that pass, move up into the 30th position as they run right now. Meanwhile, Garrett Gleason is running right behind Jason Shue. Gleason trying to run down the number 3 machine. That would be a battle for the 37th position as they run right now. But Andrew Himmelman in the number 8 machine under fire from the number 42 of Kevin McCann. And we heard, Mitchell, from Anthony DeBarro, he was a little bit concerned about tire wear here tonight. I wonder if Andrew Himmelman's used a little bit too much up of those Goodyear tires.
Yeah, it definitely is a double-edged sword. We talked about how fast he ran up through the field, but how much did he wear the tires out doing that? Long runs usually here at Phoenix as he's able to fend that position off for now on the high line, but definitely pressure starting to ramp up as you can see the other drivers like 5th place Timothy Johnston and Jason Freeman, all those guys behind him starting to catch up. So Himmelman definitely has his work cut out for him as McCann again looking to the inside off of turn 4.
And also Lupe Gonzalez in 7th is looming. Remember, Lupe going for that Shibby Shack Dash for Cash, trying to get around Andrew Himmelman here. Himmelman is in with a shot to pick up $10 extra courtesy of the Shibby Shack podcast. Big shout out to them for sponsoring the Shibby Shack Dash for Cash each and every week here in the Total Nonstop Racing Thornton Graphix Grand National Series season. But look at this battle back here as a 20 of Jason Freeman having a look underneath the USAA number 28 machine. He's going to look back underneath him here, but he's got to watch out because Lupe Gonzalez trying to go around the outside. This is a great battle for really the 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, and now 7th position as Tristan Maher has caught this group.
Yeah, good run there by the 42. I think maybe, no, not quite able to slide up. I think he tried to slide in front of Andrew Himmelman, but Himmelman fighting back yet again on the outside. They're going to be side by side down into turn 1 now, both of them on the brakes. I feel like Himmelman gets a pretty good exit, but he's just somehow that 42 seems to reel him back in. I think a lot of there's connection issues behind him, but I think Himmelman's struggling down in 3 and 4. He seems okay in 1 and 2, but really it's down in this end of the racetrack. I think that 42's really getting a run. Lupe Gonzalez now up to 6th, so definitely closing in for that Shibby Shack Dash for Cash as he's past Jason Freeman now.
Yeah, well, you say that they're still side by side back kind of on the right hand side of your screen. Now at the top of your screen is Tristan Maher now going to get around. So this is really a big gaggle of cars here on lap number 30. We're just now reaching the 20% race distance here in the Cars for Cause.org 150. Big shout out for Cars for Cause, kind of a tongue twister to say fast. And of course, Cars for Cause on the hood each and every week of Vincent Valvano. There is Vincent sporting that Cars for Cause on the hood. Got carsforcause.org on the side of the number 38 Ford Mustang right there. There's James Dorello trying to get past him. Of course, Lorello is currently 1 lap down, but a great look of tonight's race sponsor on the side of the number 38 of Vincent Valvano. I got to say, really awesome to have Vincent Valvano running the carsforcause.org Ford Mustang each and every week here on the channel. But as I say that, this battle for the third position isn't going away, although Kevin McCann, I think he's got to just about as good of a position as he's got so far, almost able to clear Andrew Himmelman, although Himmelman's really pinching him down.
Yeah, Himmelman definitely not willing to give that position up without a significant fight, as they're still side by side headed down into turn 1, but all this fighting has allowed Shane Terrian and Anthony DeBarro, your race leader, to scoot away to about a 5.5 second lead. Is Himmelman gonna hold his position yet again? The high lane really working for Andrew Himmelman. I haven't really seen Johnson's come close, but he hasn't quite been able to clear that 8, but I have to imagine that's a lot harder on Drew's tires, is again side by side through turn 4, but eventually these drivers behind him may start to lose some patience and maybe take it 3 wide, because those two being side by side really slows them down. So watching that, the other cars behind him, like Jason Freeman, I believe is in the 6th position, and yeah, that's right, Timothy Johnston's the car I was looking at, is again another run into turns 3 and 4 from the 42, but unable to clear Himmelman. Himmelman really has the outside lane working right now, but looking into turn 1 again, it just keeps repeating itself here, Peter.
Yeah, and you can see the graphic down in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. Third place, who is currently the 42 machine of Kevin McCann as they run. Just now going off into turn number 3, your leaders right now at the start-finish line. But finally, Kevin McCann able to clear Andrew Himmelman. And Himmelman thinking of coming back. Oh, contact with the outside wall for Kevin McCann. And connection issues there for, I think, Tim Johnston. And there's Johnston. And Johnston somehow is just going to go right past him. How on earth is Tim Johnston turning on the jets? And I don't know if he just drove 55 miles an hour or something there down the front stretch, but somehow Tim Johnston just blew right on by this battle between McCann and Himmelman. You don't see that one every day.
Yeah, unfortunately, we missed seeing probably an amazing pass right there because of those connection issues. But yeah, those two were battling, and then McCann just said, all right, I'll go around now, and he kind of disappeared for a little bit, but he reappeared in front of both of them. So definitely an interesting pass.
So meanwhile, Kevin McCann finally able to get on past Andrew Himmelman. Looks like he's going to finally be able to put him in the rear now. Jason Freeman, Tristan Maher now going to close onto the back of the number 8 of Andrew Himmelman. Ben Izenga, who has been tearing through the field under this long run, the number 17 machine, he has picked up 9 positions from the drop of the green flag. That equals the number of positions gained by Andrew Himmelman. It also equals the number of positions gained by the 05 of Casey Miller right here on your screen. Casey just now coming out of turn number 4. You get a good look of the RC Cola machine. Got Casey Mill on the side. If you want to go check out his Twitch, maybe he's streaming right now. Not 100% sure. It has Extra Life on the back bumper. Of course, Extra Life, a great organization, I have to say, and great to see them on the back of the number 05 machine. Meanwhile, we'll go back up to that battle. Kevin McCann still holding on to that position over Andrew Himmelman. But then a little bit further back, look at Lupe Gonzalez now trying to dive to the inside of Tristan Maher. Maher in 8th, Gonzalez in 9th, and looks like for right now, Gonzalez is going to pick up a spot from Maher. He's going to lose another spot to the number 21 of Nick Cohan if he's not too careful here.
And he got put in a tricky position with the lap car of, I believe, that's Jason Shue. Managed to work his way around him, but that can be a really tricky situation if the car on the inside decides to pinch you up to where you can't drive under the lap car. So still guys being a little bit patient, but definitely I feel like it's getting a little bit racier here 40 laps in. A lot of drivers trying to make something happen. They're working through a decent amount of lap traffic now, so just watch how these guys maneuver as we look a little bit farther back. That's the 58 of John Cannizzaro battling with the 03, I believe, of Brian McCann for the 11th position. So still a lot of side-by-side racing. No, it might be Casey Mills in the 05, excuse me.
Yeah, Casey Miller there in the 05 machine. Jason Gracias, John Canizaro. Looks like Canizaro going to lose a couple spots there. Going to fall behind Miller and Gracias. So move Miller to 12th, Gracias to 13th, and Josh Gerlach now jumping up into the picture right there in his number 71 truck, or not truck, car. I'm used to saying car instead of truck, but here tonight they're racing cars, so bear with me, folks. We broadcast both here on 3Y TV. But that is the battle for the 12th position right now. But as I say that, Jason Gracia is now going to look to the inside of Casey Miller. And looks like Jason Gracia is going to pick up that spot. So move him now up into the 12th position. He has quite a ways to go to pick up the next group of cars. Here's Ben Izenga. He's now running in the 7th position, so he's gained 10 positions from the drop of the green flag. Looking at the back now of Jason Freeman, who's still in the 6th position. It doesn't seem like he is gaining anything, losing anything. He's just kind of held station in that spot, although he has caught up to the back of the SimShots number 8 machine of Andrew Himmelman, who has slid back to 5th after getting passed by both Kevin McCann and Tim Johnson about 5 laps ago.
Still top 5 for Andrew Himmelman, but yeah, like you said, those tires, I think, starting to fall off on that SimShots Racing number 8 car. As battle just behind him, the 21 of Nick Cohan getting around, I believe, Ben Izenga, yep, in the 17, but I've noticed something too, Peter, that your leader, Anthony DeBarro, the gap is starting to go back down. It's still at about 5.5 seconds from Timothy Johnston, but it's at least flattened out a little bit, but as these guys battle a little bit behind him. But Himmelman definitely, I think, struggling when he ran up through the field, probably ready for to get some new tires on that. Speaking of which, I gotta wonder how far we are from pit stops. I imagine we still have a little ways to go, but about 50 laps usually is when drivers start to think about pitting. The window might open up for some pit strategies, but looking back out onto the racetrack, the 8 getting pressure from Jason Freeman now for the 5th position, with the 21 of Nick Cohan trying to follow along the inside, but Himmelman's been doing a great job on that high line defending positions as Freeman heads onto the inside. Lane trying to roll it through the center, but Himmelman going to be able to stay maybe a little contact between those two, and Himmelman all out of shape, and he'll go around on the front stretch. Andrew Himmelman managed to keep it straight, no caution, but man, that was a moment for Andrew Himmelman.
And you know the old adage, sometimes you pinch, sometimes you pay for it. So I'm sure that a little bit of contact there, probably not exactly what Jason Freeman was wanting, because he's also lost the spot to the number 21 Nick Cohan and all that. But you know, hard racing on lap number 47, sometimes that type of thing will happen to you. Meanwhile, Anthony DeBarro, your race leader in pretty heavy traffic. Shane Terrien in the 083 also has been dealing with some of that traffic. That has actually allowed Anthony DeBarro to scoot away up the front of the field. Tim Johnston actually now running down the number 083. We'll see if we can bring up kind of how those two drivers are running with one another here tonight. And yeah, there you go. Over the last couple of laps, Nick Johnston, well, it's kind of a trade-off. He was 0.3 of a second faster on lap number 45, but then has lost about 1/10 of a second over the last 3 laps or so. So kind of a trade-off between our second and third place drivers, at least for right now, as Ben Izenga, the number 17 machine, is on pit road. You see that graphic at the bottom of your screen. There's Izenga getting 4 fresh tires on the Air Canada Chevy Camaro, and it looks like he's going to be down and away getting left side tires right now. I think I said right side tires. I don't know. I have no idea. But up at the top of the screen, you also see the number 98 machine. That's Tristan Maher coming on pit road. So green flag pit stops in full swing here, Mitchell.
Yeah, I'm guessing some of these drivers think their pit strategy or their pit window is open. Surprised not to see more takers if the window had opened. I expect when one driver comes, a lot of them come, but looking out on track, not a lot of drivers deciding to follow. As I say that, McCann and Gonzalez, and there comes Himmelman. So there are quite a few takers as soon as I said that. So call me wrong, but still a lot of drivers out on the racetrack. I'm guessing maybe this is a little bit of a short pit from some of these drivers, but have to imagine we're going to see more takers when we go a little further into this run.
Yeah, I expect a lot of these drivers to pit pretty soon. Tristan Maher working his way back out onto the racetrack. There is a little bit of a new look this week on the number 57 machine. Matthew Rodriguez, we've been mentioning just how awesome looking the Steak and Shake number 57 has been here on 3-Wide TV over the last couple of weeks, and he's bringing that scheme now here to the Total Nonstop Racing Thornton Graphix Grand National Series season, and that is a one great looking ride. That thing looks really awesome from the front. It reminds me a little bit of a plane back in the day called the White Lightning P-38, and was owned by someone named Lefty Gardner, and used to race the White Lightning out in the Reno Air Races, and that's what that number 57 reminds me of if it was red and blue, but it's kind of got the red and black vibe to it, and it definitely one great looking ride, that is for sure. Your leaders yet to come down pit road there. There's Anthony DeBarro. Shane Terrien is right there. Third place, Tim Johnston. Fourth place now is Nick Cohan, who's a little bit further back. Jason Freeman now in fifth. And I think what we're starting to see is some of these drivers who really saved their stuff earlier in the race now starting to be able to make some moves. And then other drivers here really struggling as we reach the one-third race distance.
Yeah, I think we've seen some drivers be really good on the long run, like Timothy Johnston, of course, Shane Terrien and Anthony DeBarro, your race leaders. All three of those drivers have stayed out up to this point, but some drivers like Andrew Himmelman we saw struggle, and Himmelman tagged the wall too, but headed into pit road a little earlier. I'm guessing maybe some of them wanted to get those tires off the car. I know Himmelman probably been struggling, so looking to save tires a little better. As we look farther back at the battle for 24th position, that's Steven Doziak Jr. is the caution now out on the racetrack in the middle of the pit cycle. Looking now at the 25 car, I don't know who that is driving that exactly. Headed down the front straightaway, got a little loose, looked like he had it saved, and just went around, locked him up, kept it out of the wall, though. It's very impressive driving to keep that car out of the wall. I got to figure out who's driving that car.
That's the number 25, a Dakota Knoll, who just went around right there. We'll get one more look at it, and yeah, just like you said, Mitchell, just got a little bit loose out of turn number 4, and unfortunately looped it around, but just barely kept it off the wall.
Not an easy thing to do here at Phoenix, especially on that front straightaway when you go around. Usually you're hitting one of those two walls, so they're riding on board with him coming out of turn 4. Just car went around, looked like he had it saved, and then it just got sideways again on the straightaway, but just really close to that inside wall. But great piece of driving to keep it out of it. I know from experience how difficult it can be to keep it out of that inside wall, Peter, when you get loose out of 4.
Now, one thing I do want to highlight was that Dakota Knoll had just come off pit road, so he had cold tires, and that's probably why he didn't have a lot of grip. Looks like Anthony DeBarro is going to win the race off of pit road as these drivers come down under the caution flag. I'm sure we're going to see a lot of drivers take the wave around here under this caution flag to try and get their lap back, especially a lot of the drivers who had just pitted. There's Dakota Knoll you see on your screen right in front of Anthony DeBarro. Now, I'm sure Dakota Knoll is going to be one of those drivers, although he'll probably get an end of longest line penalty for causing that caution. You got some more drivers coming down. The number 13 is coming down of not Ben Eisanger. That is the number 13 of James Morello coming down pit road. Garrett Gleason on pit road this time. Austin Grover is on pit road in the number 83 machine. There he is. Want to give a big shout out to Austin Grover. Just had the birth of a child here just a little while. Of course, he didn't birth it, but his significant other did. And I just want to give a big shout out to Austin here tonight in the number 83 machine, as well as Christopher Darling of MaxGraphics.co. His wife just had their new child today, believe it or not. So a couple people in the Total Nonstop Racing family birthing children here recently over the past couple of weeks. But I'll tell you what, that was a great long green flag run there, Mitchell. We had that long green flag run feel to it, and it'd been 50-plus laps since the opening caution flag of the race, and we'll see if we can do that here as we are closing in on 90 laps to go.
I think a good maybe 35 or 40 lap green flag run, maybe if memory serves me right, but yeah, and I think fortunately for a lot of the drivers that pitted, I think most of them going to be able to stay on the lead lap from the wave around here under this caution, as there you see him going, but Anthony DeBarro really just stretched out that race lead on that first run. Same with Shane Terrian, hung with him for a while, but then Terrian kind of fell off, so just looking to see on this restart if anybody like that 28 of Timothy Johnston we saw had good long run pace, maybe tries to take it to those race leaders a little more aggressively than earlier in the race, but we've been seeing great restarts from those front two, so it might be difficult for anybody behind them to make something happen as the pace car lights are off here on 3YTV, getting ready to go back green. Anthony DeBarro once again will be leading the field to green as I say that, and it looks like in session the caution got extended by 1 lap as pace truck lights back on pit road, so I think they just extended the caution a little bit to give the drivers taking the wave around more of a chance to get formed back up, but that's one more lap of pacing here for us, Peter.
Yeah, let's check out how the back of the field is doing. Well, back's not doing all too hot from that look. Looks like they're still having a little bit of a problem getting sorted out. Not the 22 machine there, but some of these drivers a little bit further back. It just seems like they kind of took that wave around and now are kind of having to start on the inside groove because that's where you have to start. Ben Adams, one of our Shibby Shack Dash for Cash drivers right there in the number 9 machine, he is stuck a lap down in the Sim Shots machine, has butt kicker on the back of that number 9 machine. Right there on the center of your screen, a bunch of cars back there who are in that same boat. Meanwhile, finally the pace truck lights are off. The looks like the admins are happy with the way they've lined up at the back of the field this time. Pace car lights continue to stay off, and we will see the green flag. DeBarro once again getting great restart. Tim Johnston in the 28 USAA machine going to follow him through, at least try and follow him through. And Mitchell, that number 28 car was really fast there on that last run, especially late in the run.
It definitely nailed that restart there, and like we said, maybe one of the better long run cars. He was about even with him for a while, but showed good pace, and I think knowing that might make him a little more aggressive here in the early laps, just wanting to get in front of some of those drivers, so it's a little bit easier to stay with him. Of course, now caution flag back out on the racetrack as we're going to dial up a replay to see what might have happened there.
Yeah, looking back a little bit further in the pack, this is Bobby Puckett, the 04 Chevy Camaro, running right behind Garrett Gleason. Ooh, almost gets into the back of Garrett Gleason, goes for a big slide and had too much wheel in it, comes back across the racetrack into the outside wall, and that will bring out the caution flag. You see him getting turned around quite quickly. Let's see if we can go on board with Bobby Puckett here for this 3-wide TV replay. Let's see. There we go. There's the onboard cam. Closing up pretty quickly on the number 7 machine. Look at these cones on the right-hand side, folks. Those are your braking markers, and sometimes very easy to do. If the car in front brakes a little bit earlier than you expect, you get on the brakes a little bit too hard, you lock up the rear brakes, and then you get right to where Bobby Puckett was. You see him try and save the car. Try and save it. Has too much wheel in it. Starts to snap back, and just like that, up into the outside wall, and will bring out another caution flag here. Good news for all those drivers who might have just taken the wave around. They can come back onto pit road and take a fresh set of tires if they decide to do so. Probably not a whole lot of them will elect to do so, but some of them might. Here comes Steven Doziak in number 55 Total Nonstop Racing Toyota Supra to his pit crew. Gonna come in here, maybe top off with fuel, Mitchell.
Yeah, I think since a lot of those drivers pitted under a green flag cycle, like you said, it's probably unlikely a lot of them would elect to do that, but here we see Kyle Lewis in that Rowdy Energy car hitting his pit stall, as well as Stephen Doziak in the Toyota Supra a few drivers taking pit road. I don't know if all these guys caught the wave around. I'm guessing yes, because there was a significant amount of them that did wave around, but never quite know. Is James Lorello looking? I'm looking for the lucky dog, Peter. Do you know who would be here?
It is James Arello back on the lead lap in the number 13 machine after having that early race issues with his racing hardware. So the number 13, your reigning Thornton Graphix Grand National Series champion, will see the tail end of the longest line here for this upcoming restart. Now, for all you James Arello fans, he has not had a great start to the 2021 B Series, trying to defend his title here on 3 Wide TV. Lorello, after a couple of races, well, he's down in the 21st position in points, tied with the champion who was the champion of the season prior to Lorello, Jason Gracias. Both of those drivers sit on 34 points after 2 races. Ben Izenga, on the other hand, sits on a very nice 69 points in his number 17 machine. Let's figure out where Ben Izenga is, because Izenga is on the lead lap, but he's currently running all the way down in 17th position, which is exactly where he started and also the number that he runs on the side of that Air Canada Chevy Camaro. So we'll see whether or not Izenga can work his way back up towards the front like we saw earlier.
I want to say we have seen quite a bit of Izenga up toward the front of the pack, battling around the top 5, but right now wasn't the qualifying effort I think he had expected either, running 17th, being your points leader. As there's Andrew Himmelman, who we've also highlighted has been up in the top 5 for a significant part of this race, finds himself further back in the pack right now, but Himmelman right behind, I believe, on track, Lupe Gonzalez, who is somewhere around there, I think, but as we're looking at Briar Fritz in the 17 of Izenga, but those Shibby Shack Dash for Cash drivers stuck a little bit farther back in the pack than they were, as we're right looking at some of the drivers who find themselves a little bit further down the lineup, as I believe pace car lights have maybe gone off here, Peter, and I think we're looking at another restart.
That indeed we are. Coming out here on lap number 68 here with Anthony DeBarro and Shane Terrien on your front row here in the Total Nonstop Racing Cars for Cause.org 150 as we close in the halfway mark here tonight. DeBarro, again, a stellar restart for him. Shane Terrien trying to use that high line in the number 83. We saw him able to hold on to that second spot on the last restart here tonight. Tim Johnson here, however, trying to look for the second spot, not able to do so. Terrien does hold on into that second spot. Last week's race winner, Nick Cohan, right behind Tim Johnson. So we got a couple of the Dizzy Motorsports Toyota Supras inside the top 5. That is for sure. Jason Freeman rounding out your top 5 as of right now. Had a great race going last week at Auto Club Speedway till late race issues and contact took him towards the back of the pack with a very heavily damaged number 20 machine. Jason Gracias is now in 6th. Josh Gerlach, how did Jason Gracias, he was just 17th a moment ago. Must have been some issues with live timing and scoring or something. But Jason Gracias now in 6th. Josh Gerlach is in 7th. Great start to the race for Josh Gerlach right there in the number 71 machine. He's plus 13 spots. Brian McCann behind him. He's running in 8th, plus 4 from where he started. And then you have Bronson Stafford here in the number 61 machine. Haven't talked a whole lot about the Flat Out Racing Network number 61 machine right there here tonight, but that Toyota Supra working his way through turn number 3 and 4 right here. Great looking paint scheme here on 3 Wide TV. Working his way down the front stretch, the Canadian driver is currently the highest place of the Canadian drivers in the field. We got Bronson Stafford, Mike Floppy Tellier, and Ben Izenga, the 3 drivers sporting it for the Canadian flag. And right now, Bronson Stafford is 1 spot better than the Flat Out Racing Network number 97 of Mike Floppy Tellier there in the 10th spot. He's picked up 6 positions from where he started, but a couple of Canadians currently inside the top 10. Up at the front of the field, DeBarro starting to stretch out just a little bit of a lead, up to about half a second on Shane Terrien. Mitchell.
Yeah, kind of what we expected to see is DeBarro and Terrien stretching out the lead. Arian not being able to stay, I believe, as close to him as maybe he was. Of course, he's only half a second back, but that half a second looks like a lot out on the racetrack. Timothy Johnston still able to hold his third position as we ride on board with Shane Tarian in the second position as he tries to run DeBarro back down, but DeBarro been lightning quick, and over the long runs too was able to kind of sustain the lead. As looking at how fast, really high speeds for kind of the length of track. Phoenix Raceway, I believe, is 1 mile, close to it, as he's down to about 100 miles an hour through 3 and 4. Very flat, can be really deceiving. You carry a lot more speed through turns 3 and 4 than you would expect just looking at the banking. Same thing down in 1 and 2. 1 and 2, there's a little more banking, I believe. Don't hold me to that, but also down to about the same speed. And then I noticed Taryn, he's not really electing to take nearly as much of that dog leg in the back as DeBarro is, and that's just kind of the driver's choice there.
Yeah, you're right. Some drivers are going to want to use that dog leg to try and short up the racetrack, but other drivers, they don't like it because it kind of makes the car a little bit unhappy, and if you get the car a little bit too unhappy, well, that can lead to an accident. And as we look a little bit further back in the pack now, that is John Borst in the 0, right in front of the number 17 of Izenga, who just got around Gale Brooks for the 12th spot. So again, Ben Izenga charging his way up to the front. Not the first time we've seen that here tonight. Matthew Rodriguez now looking to the inside of Gale Brooks. This is the battle for 13th as they run. Andrew Himmelman back behind them. Casey Miller, who had charged up through the field in the white number 05, lurking right behind Andrew Himmelman as well. So a good battle here in the mid-teens for positions, Mitchell.
And I gotta say, I really like that 76's paint scheme. I don't come to TNR very often, so I'm not used to all the paint schemes, but that 76 gotta be one of my favorites. Also that 57, I love the Steak and Shake car. I see it in Thursday nights too in the NSRA Super Speedway Series here on 3xTV. He's locked into a little bit of a battle with Andrew Himmelman, the SimShots racing car, who's still kind of mired back in the field. Hasn't been able to work his way up through the field as quickly as I think he'd like. Himmelman in the 15th position at the moment, but yeah, a lot of good battling still going on through the field. I think looks like mostly single file, but you see Himmelman get right up onto the back of the 57s as getting a good look at all those Steak and Shake shakes there. That was a little bit of a tongue twister.
Yeah, half price happy hour weekdays from 2 to 5 p.m. If I didn't have to work and I had a Steak and Shake within 30 miles of me, which unfortunately there isn't, yeah, you'd probably find me at Steak and Shake there from 2 to 5 p.m. every weekday for a half price shake. But anyway, we watched this battle going on. John Borst is... Oh, Matthew Rodriguez in the 57. No, the shakes! You dropped the shakes. The shakes are all smashed up. This is not good. This is not good. Andrew Himmelman in the number 8 machine also involved. But we just had to open our mouths, Mitchell.
Yeah, something happened there. We were just looking at him, and right as we moved away, something happened. Looking back at the 3xTV replay, Himmelman looking to make something happen up on the outside of that 57 of Matthew Rodriguez. Himmelman, I'm expecting, got a good run. Rodriguez stayed a little bit low, just kind of got loose. Andrew Himmelman, absolutely nowhere to go. Tried to go down, and so Rodriguez's car went down there too. And unfortunately for the 8 of Andrew Himmelman, probably a significant amount of damage to the front and left side of that car. One of your Shibby Shack Dash for Cash drivers, who I believe been leading that for a significant part of the night, as we ride on board now with that 57 of Matthew Rodriguez. Look at his hands, just starts correcting it, and then just kind of goes around, and I think the 8 gave him a little bit of help there too, going around. Once you get somebody, I think there was a little contact, and once there's contact, it can be hard to save those cars. And unlike the wreck we saw earlier, both of them, I believe, unable to keep it out of the walls there on the front straightaway.
I'm just bummed for the shakes. Watch the shakes. There are the shakes, including the mint Oreo one, which is my favorite Steak and Shake shake. And man, there went the shakes. And unfortunately, there went Andrew Himmelman guessing wrong. like you said, Mitchell, tried to go to the inside, tried to go to the high side, and unfortunately it just didn't work out for either of them as they both ended up in the inside wall. Now back live, all your leaders staying out under this caution flag. We did have a couple of drivers like Bronson Stafford come down pit road there under the caution flag. Bronson being scored in 20th. Trying to see who the lucky dog might be. I think it might be Ben Adams in the number 9 machine, another one of our Shibby Shack Dash for Cash drivers. The butt kicker Sim Shots number 9 machine. He will join the lead lap in the 27th or 28th position. Looks like Briar Fritz in the number 16 will be the last car on the lead lap. Although Ben Adams looks like he's coming down pit road right behind a couple of the other lapped cars. Stephen Kegman on pit road, Austin Grover coming down, Garrett Gleason, Shane Ewing, Jason Shue on pit road, and Dakota Knoll in the number 25 machine. Looks like he has called it a night in the number 25 machine. We'll see him take part most likely next week in the Shibby Shack Dash for Cash. So we'll keep our eyes on the number 25 next week as he will try and go for $10, assuming he doesn't get back out there on the racetrack here tonight and finish, not in the top 3. Only time will tell. But we're now in the back half of the TNR Cars for Cause.org 150. Make sure you check out carsforcause.org here tonight. Let's go check out the 3 Wide TV chat. See what's going on over there. William Kerwin joining us in the chat. Tana Himmelman is definitely upset with the contact there with Andrew Himmelman. Johnny Williams saying, I hate that for the number 8, just nowhere to go for him. William Kerwin saying there's one on the Navy base in Norfolk, Virginia. I'm guessing a Steak and Shake. Man, I hope that all of our men and women are staying, fit enough that they can drink all those shakes and have a good time, and they're working out enough. I know if I had a lot of shakes after that, it would probably not be all too good. Logan Skelton saying, I guess Phil is at the Ninja World Championships tonight, right? More than likely. I don't know where Philip Scott is tonight in the number 99 machine. William Kerwin saying it's not Steak and Shake, it's something else. Johnny Williams saying no official race next week. That is true, Johnny. I meant 2 weeks from now in the Shibby Shack Dash for Cash because, of course, next week is the 4th of July holiday here in the United States, and want to wish everyone here in the US of A happy 4th of July. But we're going to have fireworks out there on the racetrack because the green flag is back in the air. Anthony DeBarra once again leading us back to the green flag, has led us to every green flag here tonight. And again, Tim Johnson versus Shane Terrien. This is the battle we've seen for second on just about every race start here tonight as they go side by side here, Mitchell.
That seems to be the story of these restarts. A great jump for DeBarro, and then the battle for second goes into turns 3 and 4. And up to this point, Terrien's really been able to roll the high line and keep in front of Tim Johnston in second. But Johnston hanging in there this lap. I feel like he's been cleared up to this point before, but he's putting up a fight down there on the inside as much as we can expect. Is yet another caution going to come out here on this one? And oh, we're back under yellow.
Cautions breeding cautions, that is for sure. Now, this is going to be kind of an interesting one to sort out because this is one of those where we're going to have to go through the field, figure out when the caution lights actually came out and see, because I'm not seeing anything, at least not from my view, that must have happened, but maybe something with Spencer Tart, perhaps, in the number 78 machine. Just got to find where Spencer Tart was running out there on the racetrack. There was definitely some smoke.
Yes, I can confirm I'm getting a look at a replay. Definitely was Spencer Tart there. It was, I believe, involved in that one.
Yeah, and the 05 machine right there in front of him, Casey Miller. And, oh, yep, there's the contact. And Casey in the 05 machine, long slide, Tokyo Drift, saves it. What a save out of that 05 machine. But that was enough for the iRacing officials to throw the caution flag, unfortunately, bringing out another caution flag here. So let's see if we can get another look at that one. I don't even think the 05 machine even lost the position in all that madness. Let's see. Here we go. Going off into turn number 1. The 05 gets on the binder. Spencer Tart looking to the inside. Tart running in just a little bit hard and gets into the left rear of the 05, and Casey Miller goes for that long slide. One heck of a save. Let's see if we can get one more look at this one. Let's see if we can ride on board with the 05 machine here, Mitchell, because this is going to be one heck of a good save.
I think that's one of the more impressive saves I've seen is, yep, going into turn 1, there's the Spencer Tart behind him. That's a beautiful save right there, Peter.
Yeah, I don't even think he lost a lot of track position out of all that mess as well. So that is great to see. As you see, Matthew Rodriguez down there on pit road working his way back out onto the racetrack. Looks like he is going to come out and get some of that damage repaired. Ben Adams in the number 5 is coming out there back onto the racetrack. Meanwhile, unfortunately for the Andrew Himmelman folks, looks like Himmelman's night will go no further. And looks like we will see Andrew Himmelman go for the Shibby Shack Dash for Cash again in 2 weeks from now. Because he went for it again here tonight, and back-to-back terrible finishes for Andrew Himmelman here in the Total Nonstop Racing Thornton Graphix Grand National Series season.
Yeah, definitely not what he was wanting. Himmelman, of course, also I don't believe has had the greatest start to this season as he finds himself in 38th in points coming into tonight's race. So also definitely not the start Andrew Himmelman expected to his season as he was running up in the top 5 for quite a bit of tonight. But it's still the same picture back out front, Peter. We've seen most of this race, I believe, Anthony DeBarro leading the field to green. I don't think anybody's really been able to challenge that 27 properly for the race lead. And then Shane Terrian and Tim Johnston right behind him. And then Nick Cohan's been able to hang into 4th for a while, too. So kind of the same players up in the front 2 rows that I think we've seen most of the night. But I mean, at this point, you've done the restart quite a few times with the same drivers. Do you start to figure out maybe what's going on up front and maybe find new ways to make that pass?
Yeah, definitely going to have to take a little bit of something else to get around Anthony DeBarro in his number 27 machine here tonight. But we're looking at a battle for the 26th position right now on this restart between Lupe Gonzalez and Ben Adams, both of our Shibby Shack Dash for Cash drivers who are still left in the race here tonight. Like I said, 25th and 26th and 27th as they run. But the pace car heads down onto pit road. We're going to be back green flag racing here at Phoenix, and DeBarro this time timing it with Tim Johnston, who's finally able to clear Shane Terrian as they go off into turn number 1.
Yeah, Johnston very aggressive on that restart, I noticed, but it worked out for him as he was able to get up into the 2nd position, which he's been really trying to do. Jason Gracias in the 1, looking for 3rd place very briefly. He's going to fall back into the clutches of Nick Cohan possibly for the 5th or for that 4th position. But looking at that 2nd position, it is the 28 as we ride on board now with the 21 of Nick Cohan, looking at the back of Jason Gracias, who's right rear has seen a little bit better days than it does right now. But up front, it is that 27 scooting away as we watch everyone fan out down that backstretch dog leg. Just a lot of different approaches we've seen drivers taking all night. A little bit further back inside the top 10 now, that's Ben Izanga in the 17, sliding all the way up the racetrack. Almost got into the wall. Good driving to keep it out of there as he's getting pressure from behind by Brian McCann in that 03, as well as Kevin McCann in the 42. Are those 2 McCanns related, Peter?
They are indeed. They have very similar paint schemes, or they have had similar paint schemes here on 3YTV before. So Kevin and Brian running 9th and 10th right now out there in the racetrack, nose to tail. Meanwhile, John Borst and John Canizaro, a couple of Johns battling side by side with one another back there for the 11th position. Borst going to take that spot for now. Bill Edwards, looking to the inside of Kevin Stone. Haven't highlighted the number 14 machine all too much here tonight, but Kevin Stone right there calling his own number in 14th, at least for right now. with Edwards hot on his tail. Meanwhile, look at back behind them, Todd Kirkwood in the number 19 machine, leading Bronson Stafford, Mike Floppy Tellier, and Tristan Maher. A couple of these drivers just came down pit road on lap number 80. They have yet to make a significant impact on the field ahead of them. But look at James Urello continuing his recovery. He's now back up into the top 20 in the number 13. That's why he is the reigning Thornton Graphix Grand National Series champion here on 3 Wide TV.
Yeah, definitely a difficult drive to stay in it when you have troubles early, especially problems that are completely out of James's control, like a mechanical failure is he's getting a little pressure from behind, but seems to be fending it off. Is looking just a little bit further up at the 61. Just kind of everything seems to be settled down a little bit here, but that is a pretty good looking battle between Bronson Stafford and Todd Kirkwood for that position. It's just a lot of drivers kind of having solid nights a little further back in the pack, as now we're glancing back up toward the front inside the top 10. That is Jason Freeman in the number 20, getting a little pressure from behind from Josh Gerlach. I hope I'm pronouncing his name right. In the 71 is the battle on between Ben Izanga and Kevin McCann there for the 8th position. So still some good fights going on as Izanga stuck up on the high line. We've seen that lane work a lot of tonight, but looks like McCann, he was able to clear, but the crossover coming from Izanga, somebody's into the wall a little bit further back. I believe that's the 05 of Casey Miller, got a little wide out of turn 4, and very easy to do here. Looking back up at that battle for position, it has been Izanga now back on the inside of the 03 of Brian McCann. He will take the position back now, headed into 3 and 4. So swapping positions around a little bit, those drivers.
Yeah, definitely just trading positions at this stage of the race. We look at this battle a little bit further back. Bronson Stafford still trying to hound down Kevin Stone, who's lost a spot. He's now down to the 15th position. And the Chevron with Techron number 14 right there on your screen. Got the number 61, Bronson Stafford, looking to his inside, thinks better of it. Mike Floppy Tellier in the number 97, Tristan Maher, Todd Kirkwood, and Lupe Gonzalez currently rounding out your top 20. Lupe Gonzalez is leading the number 9 of Ben Adams, so that is currently Lupe Gonzalez looking to take home $10 in cash from the Shibby Shack Dash for Cash. Santa Himmelman in the chat saying Ben's birthday is Friday. He could use that $10 to celebrate. He needs the money. Well, Ben, you better get on your high horse and catch up to Lupe Gonzalez here. He's only a couple of cars in front of you, so hurry up. Tana, go to the other room. Tell Ben he needs to go faster. Peter Short in the 3 Wide TV booth is telling him he needs to get into high gear here on 3 Wide TV. Meanwhile, let's look at Josh Gerlach here running in the 8th position, plus 12 positions from where he started. John Borst in the number 0 also has picked up 12 positions. Matthew Rodriguez also picking up 12 positions from where he started. And Steven Doziak Jr. is the biggest mover of the race here tonight so far. Started 39th, is running in the 25th spot as they run. Just looking in on this battle up towards the front of the field. Nick Cohan, Shane Terrian, 3rd and 4th right here. Shane running a little bit higher on the racetrack than Nick Cohan. This could be a good battle brewing for the 3rd position here, Mitchell.
I think Terrian kind of got stuck behind the 28 of Timothy Johnston on that restart. We've seen Terrian have a lot of short run speed here in this race, but kind of got stuck behind Johnston. And when you get stuck behind another car, like we said, this is not the easiest track to pass. You kind of just are forced to run whatever pace that driver wants to do, and it's let Terrian kind of fall into the clutches here of Nick Cohan, and they're gonna put on probably a really good battle here for 3rd, as Cohan, as you can see on that graphic on the bottom of the screen, is run down Shane Terrian from a little ways back. So Cohan definitely starting to show some longer run speed here as this green flag run progresses.
Yeah, that number 21 machine definitely closing in. Last week's race winner at the Auto Club Speedway as well. So Cohan has all that momentum. As from that win, but we have quite a few Supras here dominating. Your top 5 are all Toyotas until you get to Jason Freeman in 6th, who's running a Chevrolet. Kevin McCann also in a Chevrolet in 7th. And then 2 more Toyotas. So 7 Toyotas, 3 Chevrolets inside the top 10 right now. It is all Toyota dominance here on 3 Wide TV. Let's get rid of that graphic for you, see if we got anything else going on the racetrack. Brian McCann has got to the back bumper of John Bors. This is the battle for the 9th position. Meanwhile, the 05 of Casey Miller again getting loose out of turn number 4. And here comes Bronson Stafford. And whoa, almost contact. Mike Floppy Tyler has to go way up the racetrack in the number 97 machine to avoid running over Casey Miller in turn number 1.
And something else worth noting here, someone missing in this battle for position is that 17 of Ben Izengi, your points leader. That's because he's made his green flag stop, Peter. The 17 just came down pit road maybe 2 or 3 laps ago, so his window must be open for the Indies thinking, because that's 17, the first driver to make a play onto pit road as we're looking at the battle between the 03 and the 50. Haven't talked too much about Bill Edwards tonight, kind of been a quiet night for him, but progressed solidly, now battling for the 10th position with Brian McCann as Bill able to slide up in front of that 03 and clear him, cracking the top 10 now. Bill, this is a good track for him. I've raced with Bill quite a bit, very good short track racer, so not really surprised to see him kind of work his way up inside the top 10 later in this race.
Yeah, and sporting that patriotic scheme as well. Looking as kind of the back half of the field all works their way by our turn 2 camera. Again, everyone's spreading out as they go through the dog leg on the backstretch. Austin Grover going way down to the one side of the racetrack down there. A couple of these drivers switch back and back. There's Stephen Kegman in the Angry Orchard machine. And then there's your race leader, Anthony DeBarro, Tim Johnson right there, Shane Terrien, Nick Cohan, Jason Gracias in number 1. Then you got Jason Freeman. Then we got the number 42, Kevin McCann, Josh Gerlach, John Bors, Bill Edwards, and then we're back to kind of where we were last lap when we saw this group of cars race their way on through. Some really good racing here. Here's John Bors and Bill Edwards. This is 9th and 10th right now out there on the racetrack. Edwards going to look to the inside of Bors as we go off into turn number 1 here. And really, Bill Edwards here starting to make a statement on 3 Wide TV as we close in on the final 40 laps here in the carsforcause.org 150.
Yeah, and the 0 of Bors, he tried to block Bill down into turn 1, but Bill said, nope, I'm faster, I want around, and he sent it down on in there and managed to take the position. A good battle for 17th looking back in the pack. That's your Shibby Shack Dash for Cash driver Lupe Gonzalez, locked in a fight with James Lorello and Briar Fritz for that 17th position. John Cannizzaro also there in frame, creeping into that battle, trying to challenge the 16. Yeah, some good battles all the way through the pack as Lorello slowly working his way back up through the field like we talked about. Some damage from a very early incident on that race car, not really slowing him down too much. It's kind of difficult here. Once you get stuck back in the pack on these longer runs and the field spreads out, it's really difficult to work your way back. So Lorello trying his best, but there goes Cannizzaro. Also, Cannizzaro might be off that lap. I can't, because we're not seeing him down there in that graphic, so I'm guessing he's pitted for fresh tires at some point. But yeah, definitely good battle here for 17th as these drivers continue to kind of swap around track position.
Yeah, can confirm Johnny Cannizzaro came down pit road on lap number 104, so he has 8-lap old tires on his machine. You've seen him pull away. Lupe Gonzalez here going to lose a couple of spots. Fritz and Lorello getting on by. So move Fritz to 17th, Lorello to 18th, Gonzalez back to 19th as they run. Trying to see, John Bors getting back by the number 50 of Bill Edwards. Not sure what that was all about. Let's see if we can dial up what just happened here for position. Here we go. This is a 3 Wide TV replay. You see Bill Edwards way out in front in the number 50 machine. Did he try and come down pit road? He might have tried to come down pit road. I think he did there. And his teammate, of all things, Ben Izenga was there underneath him, and Edwards is going to have to go another lap, but he lost a little bit of track position. All that madness. Back live, and yes, indeed, Bill Edwards coming to pit road right now. Finally able to get onto pit road, but that was a little bit of a boo-boo there out of Bill Edwards in the number 50, as well as his teammate, Ben Izenga, just not communicating.
Yeah, it'll be a fun team meeting over at the S2R headquarters. I think Bill just kind of got into that turn maybe a little harder than he wanted to. You saw him go way up the track, although, is that your race leader? The 27 of Anthony DeBarro had a little bit of a moment coming out of turn 4. Might have got a little tight or a little loose, but he was a little something and almost got the wall. I don't know if he did, but still that race car looks pretty clean. But he's only about a second in front of Tim Johnston right now. So Johnston doing a very good job on this run, not letting your leader slip too far away. As you can see, he's kind of running back down a little bit. We talked about his long run speed, and definitely showing right now is Nick Cohan also looking behind, able to take the position from Shane Terrian, so move Cohan up into the 3rd place, but riding on board now with that 28 of Johnston. He's slowly but surely reeling in your leader. Another 2/10 on that lap, and they are in lap traffic now, so that is going to play a factor, but Johnston with a lot of speed in his race car here tonight.
Yeah, we're going to go back and watch this battle. This is how that pass for 3rd position was made. Nick Cohan diving to the inside here of Shane Terrian through the dog leg, goes off into turn number 3, late on the brakes. A little bit of a wiggle out the back of the number 21 machine, but he dove it in far enough that he was just able to clear Terrian, and he's picked up that 3rd position. We're back live here. Back on board with we were on board with the number 28, Tim Johnston, but he's coming down pit road here. They play by your 2nd place driver. He's going to leave Anthony DeBarro out there on the racetrack. Kevin McCann in the 42. We hear he's peeling onto pit road. Yes, he is. Josh Gerlach in the 71 coming onto pit road right there. So definitely pit stops in play. When will Anthony DeBarro come down pit road? When will he relinquish the race lead? Will it be this time? Will it be next time? He's going through turn number 3 and 4. He's going a little bit slow. No, he's just trying to roll the center of the corner. You see a little bit of opposite steering just to keep that car going straight up off the corner. And you can tell he's really wheeling that car, Mitchell. He's trying to get all that he can get before he comes down to make his final pit stop of the night.
And he really needs to be getting all he can, because I really am surprised he stayed out that last lap. When the 2nd place car, he was only half a second back. All looking at that 2nd place car, the 28 went around though. I believe on the backstretch, I was going to call him really smart for that pit move, but the 28 went around out of turn 2. That is disastrous for that driver who was running in 2nd. I thought that could have been a race-winning move for Johnson right there, but as we're looking at it on the replay, coming out of pit road, I don't know if it happened here, or take a look. Oh, just tried to gas it up out of the pits and just gave it too much. We stay green, but man, Peter, that has to hurt. That move might have inherited him the race lead, so really just heartbreaking. As you can see, he finds himself right now on track 27th, 1 lap down, but he's battling with that 78 of Spencer Tart and James Lorello. But if you're that 27 of DeBarro, that is what you wanted to see, really. Is that was your closest competition and the only guy who's really given you really a good run for your money tonight. And now he's pretty much out of the race without a caution.
Yeah, and I'm with you. I like that move as well to pit a little bit earlier, because we've seen here tonight how difficult it is to pass. I mean, think to early in the race when Andrew Himmelman was able to hold Tim Johnston in the number 28 back lap after lap after lap after lap for probably about 10 to 15 laps. So, if you can kind of have the roles reversed on that, Tim Johnston could have been able to hold off Anthony DeBarro. But a little bit of pressure now off the back of the number 27 machine, although Nick Cohan, we'll see if we can bring up this graphic again to kind of just show the distance between these two is closing in. Cohan just closing in about 4/10 over the last 5 laps. So, almost a 1/10 of a second per lap in the number 21 to the 27. So when will Nick Cohan come down pit road? Anthony DeBarro says, you know what? I've had enough of these tires. I'm coming down pit road right now. And so that will give the race lead to the driver of the number 21 machine. I'm a bit surprised that Cohan's staying out there on the racetrack, but he does indeed goes around the number 11 machine. That is Ricky Williams in the Jeff Burton throwback paint scheme right there, the Toyota Supra. Now, when will Nick Cohan make that hard left turn to come down to his pit crew?
I would have said this lap, but it looks like Cohan gonna stay out again. I'm really surprised. Just 26 laps to go that we haven't seen more takers on pit road. Maybe these guys think they can make it to the end, but I really doubt it. It goes against my typical pit strategy. I think when you saw the 28 go down to the pits, I would have expected a lot more drivers to follow him and try and short pit, especially with your leader of DeBarro staying out. I guess a lot of drivers hoping to catch a caution here, but yeah, I'm very surprised, and he stays out again as that lap. Oh, big moment for someone. I can't quite tell who, but a little excitement. We stay green yet again with 25 laps to go, as it looked like Kyle Lewis maybe had quite the moment coming out of turn 4, and we'll take a look back at it here on the 3Y TV replay. There is Kyle Lewis just way out of the groove through turn 4, and there went your race leader in second place. Drivers, that's a bit of a moment. Is there smoke coming out of pit road? So excitement all over the racetrack as Cohan's still staying on the track. He now has about an 11-second advantage over Bronson Stafford, who is now in second due to the pit cycle. So Cohan definitely playing the long game here on this run. I'm curious to see kind of what his strategy is and how it unfolds itself, because a lot of his competitors headed into the pits already, and they'll be on fresh tires, gaining seconds a lap on him. As we look back at the 27 of Anthony DeBarro, who was your race leader before the pit cycle began, as he's working his way through the field with the 83, who ran in second for a lot of it. We saw the 28 was able to pass him, but that might move that 83 back up into second, with Cohan staying out here. Is looking in 3 and 4. Will he come in this time? Yes, he will. The 21, your race leader, finally pulling the trigger and coming to pit road now, Peter. Let's see how he shakes out compared to the car he's been running with.
Yeah, so we'll just have to wait and see. We think that Anthony DeBarro will have a big advantage in the number 27, running on the fresher tires for now, about 5 laps. That will give the race lead to the number 61 of Bronson Stafford. There he is, got Jason Freeman below him. The big question here, Mitchell, is we had a bunch of these cars just come down pit road a little while ago, but Bronson Stafford, he pitted on lap number 80 here tonight. And let's see if we can bring up the graphic here to just kind of show when these drivers last came down pit road. We're going to bring up a bunch of them on the right-hand side of your screen. There we go. So let's highlight Anthony DeBarro right there. He's in the 9th position right now. He pitted on lap 57. He went to 123. Now, if you do the math, that is 66 laps. Nope. Yes, 66 laps. That is the math. That is correct. 66 laps. Bronson Stafford in the 61, he pitted on lap number 80. So if he goes 66 laps from lap number 80, then he could make it to lap 146. So we know DeBarro went quite a long time in his car. Let's see Nick Cohan. He pitted on lap 57. He went all the way to 128. That is 71 laps, which would be enough for Bronson Stafford to make it to the end of the race from lap number 80. So, are we going to see Bronson Stafford, Tristan Maher, Mike Floppy Tellier try and stretch that window? Only time will tell here, folks. But then you have drivers like Gale Brooks, Briar Fritz, and James Arello, and Spencer Tart. They all pitted on lap number 87 with Lupe Gonzalez. By that same math, we know Gale Brooks, Briar Fritz, Spencer Tart, and James Arello, we are pretty sure, at least I'm pretty sure, that those drivers can make it on fuel. But how much fuel will they have to save? And they also have a hard-charging Anthony DeBarro not all too far behind him. In fact, if we, as I say that, let's go check on Anthony DeBarro because he's actually locked in a battle just past Lupe Gonzalez. And now he's behind Spencer Tart in the number 78 machine, a couple of the Dizzy Motorsports teammates. And look at this gaggle of cars out there on the racetrack, Mitchell. It is a busy group right here, right in front of the number 27 machine of Anthony DeBarro. Oh, contact!
Yeah, definitely not what DeBarro wants to see through his front windshield, as they are 3 wide, maybe out of turn 4. Now it'll settle back into 2 wide, but just fantastic racing here back in the pack. And I like your math, Peter. I think if you're Bronson Stafford, Tristan Maher, of course you're going to try and stretch it to the end on fuel because you can. You've got Anthony DeBarro 12 seconds back. We know he's fast, but he's stuck in traffic right now, so he's going to absolutely send it up the inside of that number 16. But I like the strategy. I think, especially with this long run, as there's a little bit of contact behind him, I believe the 83 getting around the 16, but I think I like the play to stay out, and I think this is a lot of time to save 3 or 4 laps of fuel, too. If you know going into a run that you need just a few more laps to make it to the end, that's a lot of time to save that fuel. And I don't know if DeBarro will catch him. We know he's fast, and you can see gaining seconds a lap, but I like the play.
Yeah, now I'm also looking at the distance between DeBarro and Cohan, because we know Cohan has fresher tires than Anthony DeBarro by a couple of laps. And, of course, DeBarro's been stuck in this heavy traffic and still stuck in the heavy traffic right there, right behind the 05 machine of Miller as they go through turn number 3 and 4. So I'm just curious to know whether or not the number 27 here, as he's stuck behind that big gaggle of cars, is really losing out to Nick Cohan. Cohan's still quite a ways back, not even to the start-finish line, and we only have 14 laps to go. That gap between them is, we'll bring up the next graphic here in just a second for you folks as we sort it up. I mean, that gap's gone from 6.5 seconds down to 3.4 in about 5 laps. So if that could continue up, yes, Nick Cohan could catch Anthony DeBarro, but DeBarro now has some clean traffic in front of him. He's also got Shane Terrien closing in back behind him as well. So that's going to be another thing. Terrien now just about 0.6 of a second behind DeBarro, but DeBarro does have 1 lap fresher tires than Shane Terrien, so give that advantage to DeBarro, but still a long way to go. Somewhere in all of this mess, the number 14 machine up there in front of DeBarro has lost his rear bumper. That, of course, is the number 14 of Kevin Stone, currently running in the 23rd position right there in the Chevron with Techron Ford Mustang. Got Anthony DeBarro slipping underneath him. But it's been a pretty good night here for Kevin Stone. He pitted on lap 109 here tonight, so he is plenty good to make it to the end of the race. The big question is going to be Bronson Stafford, Tristan Maher, Mike Floppy Taylor, Gale Brooks. Let's see if we can bring up the track map for all of you folks at home. We're going to bring it up by position, so you can see your first, second, third, and fourth place cars currently going through the dog leg and off into turn number 3. Your fifth place car, which just went through the dog leg, that is where Anthony DeBarro is. So DeBarro really closing in on your top 5. Does he have enough time to run down Bronson Stafford? If Bronson has enough fuel, well, this should answer that question for you here, folks. Over the last couple of laps, DeBarro has been about 7 to 0.8 of a second faster. And Mitchell, that's significant, because right now the gap from Stafford to DeBarro is only about 6 seconds with 10 laps to go. Oh, but this answers everything as Stafford pulls onto pit road, so that changes everything. He's got Maher, Tellier coming in with him. Gale Brooks will stay out, but it looks like that will pretty much give the race lead back to Anthony DeBarro here in a lap or 2, assuming DeBarro can run down Gale Brooks. There's not all too many cars between them. But things swinging back in the hands of DeBarro. The big question is going to be Terrien or Cohan. Can one of them run down DeBarro, as Cohan has caught Shane Terrien? This is a battle for presumably second.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think it's very unfortunate for those drivers. They came very close as the battle for what will be second place potentially Nick Cohan moving up past Shane Terrian. Gale Brooks still staying on the racetrack, giving it everything he's got, but I don't think there's any question. In 8 laps, that 27, he was within a second at the timing line. There he is down into turns 3 and 4. He's there, and there's really nothing Gale Brooks can do on old tires to hold him back, especially with as fast as that 27's been, as he's probably going to send it up the inside here. Yes, he is. Give the lead back to Anthony DeBarro. He takes over the race lead from Gale Brooks, who now runs in 2nd place. So, yeah, I think it was, once those other cars pitted, it was just a matter of time before that 27 had to get the race lead back. But I think it would have been interesting if they'd had just a little more fuel to see if he'd gotten there, because it had been very close.
Yeah, it would have been extremely close whether or not they would be able to make it on fuel. I mean, Gale Brooks is also kind of in that same boat, though. He pitted 6 laps after that group of cars that had just come down pit road. So things are going to be very tight in Gale Brooks's fuel cell as well towards the end of the race. 6 laps to go now. You see Cohan has worked his way up into 2nd. He is only 1.8 seconds behind your race leader, Anthony DeBarro, but the lap count is winding down. 5 laps to go here in the Cars4Cause.org 150 here in the Total Nonstop Racing League Thornton Graphix Grand National Series Championship. Big shout out to Dunn Raceway Park, located up in Old Forge, Pennsylvania, the indoor off-road RC racing track, for also sponsoring the Total Nonstop Racing League, as well as Master Millwright, a metal workshop up in that same area in the northeast portion of the United States. Make sure you check them out if you need something done. 4 laps to go here, and Anthony DeBarro going around Shane Ewing and squeaking his way on through. Had some pretty heavy traffic, including Steven Doziak right in front of DeBarro. Which way does DeBarro go? To the middle goes DeBarro. Cohan back there is going to have to navigate his way through this mess of cars as well. But, man, that could have been pretty scary there for your race leader as we come to 3 to go.
And Cohan had a moment of his own out of turn 4 on the last lap, trying to get around the 76 of Gale Brooks. He managed to, but I think except the caution at this point, it looks like Anthony DeBarro has a firm hold of this race lead as he stretched it out on that last lap. But, I mean, they're not done racing here. You never know. We have 3 laps. It's not a lot of time, but it's enough for something to happen. But I think DeBarro, as he's working around Kyle Lewis, pinched Lewis quite a bit into that turn. That could have been a moment, but Kyle Lewis able to keep a hold on that race car, and he likes what he's seeing. Clear track in front of him. There's Nick Cohan in 2nd, 3 cars in between them, but give credit to Gale Brooks, who's managed to stay out here this long. I think he'll slide. No, he's still in the 3rd position, excuse me. He's got Shane Terrian about a second behind him, running him down, but 2 laps to go. It could turn into a top 3 finish, so an amazing fuel strategy, and just a highlight too before the white flag lap. Just race went from almost maybe winning to just awful for Bronson Stafford, who had a speeding penalty there, but that doesn't really matter for your race leader, Anthony DeBarro, as he's taken the white flag. Mike Floppy Tellier gets around him, but clean, smooth sailing for your race leader down the backstretch into turns 3 and 4 for the final time.
Into turn number 3 and 4. Like you said, Mitchell, for the final time, Anthony DeBarro, who's been dominant here tonight, gonna come around, checkered flag in hand, and Anthony DeBarro goes to victory lane here in the Total Nonstop Racing League Thornton Graphix Grand National Series for the first time this season. It will be Nick Cohan, last week's race winner, finishing behind the DeBarro Sliders number 25 in his great-looking number 21 machine. Shane Terrian was able to pick up 3rd position right there on the final lap. Let's see if we can see how that all went down here. Quickly on the 3-wide TV replay, did Gale Brooks run out of fuel here in the number 76 machine? Looked like there was plenty of room between them. And, yeah, that number 76 car slowed and unfortunately ran out of fuel, although was still able to limp home in 4th. Really, really crazy finish here tonight as Anthony DeBarro here on 3-wide TV going to come around and do some burnouts for us and the fans here on the channel. What a great race it was here tonight. A lot of drivers, Mitchell, were concerned about caution flags, but we had some great green flag racing, and that's what Total Nonstop Racing League is all about.
Yeah, great run to the finish, and we had a great run early too as your race leader, Anthony DeBarro, pretty much dominated this race. There were very few drivers who were able to challenge him, so definitely deserving of his first win of the season, I believe, and he'll do some burnouts for us on the front straightaway. And Gil Brooks came so close. It's heartbreaking when you run out of fuel on the final lap looking to make that strategy work, but it was a great race here in TNR, and I was really glad to be up here to call it. As yeah, these drivers put on a great show through several long green flag runs.
Yeah, definitely is going to be a great post-race interviews here lined up for everyone. That is for sure. Looking forward to getting to talk to some of these drivers here on 3Wide TV. Let's see if we can start with tonight's third place finisher, driver of the number 83 machine, Shane Terrian, joining us in the 3Wide TV booth. You got a copy?
I got you.
Well, Shane, you continue your strong run here on 3Wide TV in the Total Nonstop Racing Thornton Graphix Grand National Series to start off the 2021 B season here tonight at Phoenix. It looked pretty slippery out there in the racetrack, but everyone managed themselves quite well. And, of course, coming home with a third-place finish. Tell us about your night.
Yeah, I mean, I felt good in the daytime for that practice, but when it got nighttime, I could not save that right front, and I don't know. I don't know if the track cooled off or the rubber, but I was not as confident as I was during practice and qualifying. So, but I mean, did my best. I thought the lap traffic was going to help me with Anthony. I just needed to get in front of him and then just park the bus and not let him by. But I never got the chance. Then I got hit by a lap car and had some nose damage, so that kind of hurt. So overall, I'll take a third. It's been a while since I raced in these cars at this track, so I'll take it.
Well, you know, that green flag pit stop cycle coming out there with about 30 to 40 laps to go, depending on when you came down pit road. You came down with about 29 laps to go. What was going through your mind then? You know, you didn't want to pit too early. You didn't want to pit too late. You know, if you pit too early, a caution flag comes out, it ruins your race. If you wait too late, then maybe, you know, you don't get the full goodness out of those fresh tires. What kind of went into your late race strategy?
I was going to pit when the leaders pit, either the 28 or the 27, but then I got entering turn 1, I was passing a lap car, and he missed the braking zone and just plowed the right side of my car, so that's when I had to pit. I mean, the left side of my car, so I pit then and there. I was like, well, I lost too much time right there, so I had to pit. But I made up the ground, but then unfortunately I used up my tires and couldn't get to Anthony. But my strategy was to pit with him and try and gain some time on pit road, entering and exit, but never got the chance to.
Well, nonetheless, a very strong race for you here tonight in the Total Nonstop Racing League. Of course, no race next week, at least no official race next week. There will be a fun race on 4th of July, but in 2 weeks from now, we have the NEPA Cornhole 160 at the Iowa Speedway. What are your thoughts of Iowa, and do you have any shout-outs for us here on the channel?
Iowa, who knows? I haven't been there in these cars in a while. Hopefully it's not tight like it used to. And then I'm just gonna shout out Eva controllers, and then you guys for broadcasting. I had it up during the race, and then these guys for letting me race. It's been fun.
All right. Well, tonight, your third place finisher is Shane Terrian. Thanks for dropping by with us here on 3Y TV, and best of luck in 2 weeks.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, folks, that's going to do it for your third place interview with Shane Terrian. Like I mentioned, let's see if we can now jump on over to tonight's second place finisher, driver of the number 21 machine. Tried to go back-to-back here in the championship, unable to do so, and I believe Mitchell Adams has caught up with Nick Cohan.
Yeah, Nick Cohan, Mitchell Adams in the 3Y TV booth. You have a copy?
I got you, Mitchell.
Well, second place is definitely a good result for you. Do you think you had anything more for the race leader there in those closing laps?
Yeah, you know, Mitch, I think this is one of my best tracks, and I was saving my tires really, really good, which is always normally why I've been so good here. But I just kind of played the strategy a little bit wrong. I was really doing good those first couple runs, saving tires, and that last run there, I wasn't sure if I should take 4, if I should take 2, or what I should do. And I was going to take 2 coming down pit road, and I don't know what I was listening to in my head, but I decided to take 4. I thought it might be quick enough. I thought I would get out a little bit closer to Ant, but I didn't, so I had to drive pretty hard. And then being that I switched to 4 last second, I didn't take enough fuel. So the thing was really, really tight. But it was good to get a top podium finish here for Perk Coffee, Tizzy Motorsports. Felt good. I think I had a shot. Just Ant's pretty tough to beat, so I'm not too disappointed.
And we saw a lot of variety in the fuel strategy and just when drivers pit in those closing laps. Do you think you would have done anything differently if you could have done it again? And kind of what do you think of the other driver strategies you saw around you?
Well, I was trying to just base my strategy off of my teammate Ant and Tim and Shane, the 83 there. We were all pretty close in speed. Ant was really fast in the beginning of the run, so it made it tough. You're trying to save tires, but you also don't want him to get so far away. But the only thing I would have done was just taken 2 tires like I was originally planning to. Really wish I could do that over, because I had saved so much fuel early on in that run. I think I went 7 or 8 laps longer than Ant, so I had it down to only 1 can of fuel. So I really could have saved a lot of time by taking 2 tires. It might have been really, really slick, but it was pretty tight out there in general. So I think it would have been doable. So I think we had a shot if we did that. But the 4 tire strategy, it was just tough. The lap cars, and had to drive really, really hard to get through there on the cold tires, which burned them up. And then the less fuel in the bag just made it even more tight than it was. So not much you can do now, but if I had to do it over, I'd probably take 2.
And looking at the schedule, off next Monday for the 4th of July, but next in 2 weeks' time, we'll come back at Iowa Speedway. What do you think about that track?
Iowa should be fun. Pretty fun track. There's multiple grooves, kind of some short track racing in a way. But hopefully run that in the daytime, because I think that track's a little bit better in the daytime, where you have to slide around a little bit. Yeah, Iowa's a fun track, and hopefully we can put on a good show for you guys.
And before we let you go, is there anybody you have a shout out for here on 3-Way TV?
First, got to thank carsforcause.org for sponsoring tonight's race. 3-Wide TV, TNR. Perk Coffee for being on the car. CJ Automotive, Always Race Day. Circle Jerk Podcast. All my teammates at Dizzy Motorsports. Joey Gattina, and like I said, you guys for putting this broadcast together. It's really really fun to go back and watch it.
Oh, thank you, and thank you for stopping in with us. Congratulations on your 2nd place finish here tonight, Nick, and have a good night.
Hey, you too. Thanks.
That was your 2nd place finisher in the race. Nick Cohan brought it home right behind your race winner, Anthony DeBarro, who I believe Peter Short has caught up with here in Victory Lane.
That is right. I have made my way down to Victory Lane with tonight's carsforcause.org 150 winner here on 3-Wide TV, Anthony DeBarro. And Anthony, man, lights out here tonight. Started on the pole at the top of the show, and you backed that up with leading the most laps here tonight, and on your way to Victory Lane here for the first time this season in the Thornton Graphix Grand National Series title. Tell us what it is about Phoenix Raceway that really is in your wheelhouse.
I think I had a really good short run car, like maybe the first 20 laps of a run, and then Tim and Nick were very good in the long run. I don't know. I think having that track position and everyone's so close in speed, it's just, I think having the clean air, I think, was the difference there. And I won the pole, and I was able to stay up front. Coming down the end there for the last stop, I was thinking, I was like, maybe I'll throw 2 tires on it and gain that time. But I was like, I don't want to. I feel like I had the best car. I didn't want to chance that and then end up losing the race because of it. So I just went through 4 on it, and Nick almost made it back to me because I got really hung up in lap traffic there for 3 laps. I wasn't trying to run anyone over, and they were racing pretty hard for 18th, so it was tough to get around them.
Yeah, we saw that, and we were saying, oh, man, this might give Nick Cohan an opportunity to get to your back bumper, but he wasn't quite able to there by the end of the race. Really a strong race here tonight at Phoenix, and we've seen you very strong on the short tracks here in your relatively short Total Nonstop Racing League career. And, of course, the next race 2 weeks from now is at a short track, the 7/8 of a mile Iowa Speedway for the NEPA Cornhole 160. What are your thoughts of Iowa?
It's actually happens to be my favorite racetrack on the service. So hopefully we bring another car and the setup's decent and we could repeat what we did tonight because I felt really good tonight in the car and these cars are really fun to drive. They're a lot more fun to drive than the Cup cars. You don't really have to try in those anymore.
Well, every single person watching the 3-Wide TV broadcast right now who's a driver is groaning at hearing that it is your favorite racetrack on the service. We'll be watching for you to be quick again 2 weeks from now. But hey, before we let you go, Anthony, anyone you want to give a shout out to?
Yeah, you guys in the booth at 3 TV do a great job. I look forward to reviewing the race if I get a chance to. The sponsor for the race, the carsforcause.org, and that's with a number 4, and their number is 877-cars with a K, and it's -4 kids, and it's a great cause. Everyone go check it out. They're great people.
All right. Well, Anthony, congratulations on getting the victory here in the carsforcause.org 150 at Phoenix International Raceway. We'll see you in 2 weeks' time, bud.
Thank you.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for tonight's race-winning interview, Mitchell. And definitely, Anthony DeBarro was the class of the field here tonight at this racetrack. And I got to say, he was very, very quick. And why isn't our ticker hiding itself? It has decided to break itself right here on the screen for everyone at home. Not sure why. But I can do everything but get rid of it. Don't you just love when that happens? I don't want to lose it, because if I lose it, then I lose everything. I lose all the finishing results. So, folks, you're just going to have to bear with technical gremlins here on the channel as we go to bring up, well, hopefully the results pull up. They do pull up. So we'll go through that. Don't mind what's going on at the top of the screen. It's just deciding to be a little bit troublesome. You know how it is here on 3Y TV. If you've been with us here on the channel, you know how things go. Taking home the win here tonight, Anthony DeBarro over Nick Cohan, his teammate. Dizzy Motorsports 1-2. Shane Terrian coming home in third. Gail Brooks with that fuel-saving strategy, almost able to pull off a top 3 finish there, but coming home fourth in the Unocal 76 machine. Kevin McCann coming home in 5th. Jason Freeman 6th. Tim Johnson in 7th. Spencer Tart in 8th. Brian McCann 9th. And Bill Edwards finishing inside the top 10. Great rally back for him there, Mitchell.
John Borst came home in 11th. Josh Burlack, I am still not getting that name right, in 12th. Ben Izengi, your points leader coming into this race, finished 13th. John Canizaro 14th, Mike Floppy Tellier 15th, Lupe Gonzalez 16th, and Ben Adams 17th. Those were 2 of your Shibby Shack Dash for Cash drivers, with Casey Miller in 18th, Stephen Doziak Jr. 19th, and Kevin Stone rounding out your top 20.
And finishing in 21st here tonight, Breyer Fritz finishing 22nd, Todd Kirkwood 23rd, James Dorello, Ricky Williams 24th, Matthew Rodriguez in 25th, Kyle Lewis 26th, Vincent Valvano 27th, Tristan Maher 28th, Bronson Stafford in 29th with no team, sad face, and Jason Gracias rounding out your top 30 there, Mitchell.
Yeah, rounding out the field was Austin Grover finishing 31st, Stephen Kagman in 32nd, Derek Cook 33rd, Bobby Puckett in 34th, Shane Ewing in 35th, Garrett Gleason 36th, Tony Lucarelli 37th, Jason Chu, Andrew Himmelman, and Dakota Knoll finished 40th, and Justin White did not start this race in 41st.
Yeah, Justin White is the auto race administrator and was adminning the race from out of the field here tonight. That's why he'll be scored in 41st position. And Jason Shu, Andrew Himmelman, and Dakota Knoll will be going for the Shibby Shack Dash for Cash, assuming that they all start at Iowa Speedway in 2 weeks from now. Well, folks, really want to thank each and every one of you for joining us here on 3Y TV here tonight. Yeah, the top of the screen's still broken. We'll have to live with it till the end of the broadcast. We want to thank each and every one of you for joining us here on the channel. I got to say, it has been awesome here tonight at Phoenix International Raceway. And have a good 4th of July. We'll see you 2 weeks from now. That will be July 12th, I do believe, for the NEPA Cornhole 160 in the Total Non-Stop Racing League's Thornton Graphix Grand National Series here on 3 Wide TV. But until then, stay safe, have a good time, and we shall see ya!